Personally, I choose Uther the Paladin.
Oh, I am not surprised. Most popular opinions.
Ooh, this one's an interesting one.
Hello, guys!
The next card we're going to be looking at is called
Call to Arms.
Call to Arms?
Call to Arms.
4 mana.
Paladin spell.
To recruit 3 minions that cost 2 or less.
You might be thinking, so how can I really abuse this card?
So this is an interesting card.
This, I think, is potentially one of the more powerful cards in the set.
This is really strong.
I think this is quite strong.
This one is really more interesting and I think potential pretty good.
Potentially just a very, very powerful card.
I know for a fact this is an insane arena card.
In Arena, this card will see a lot of play. I think it's amazing with considerable how good 2-drops are in Arena.
You remember small-time recruits and how you paid 3 mana to draw 3 1-drops?
The main issue with this card is in Constructed, you actually want to run a lot of 1-drops. So playing this and getting 3 1-drops, I think that's kind of worth it.
And you can also play like other 2-mana creatures.
3 2-drops on turn 4, and now while that seems amazing,
this is actually one of the stronger Paladin spells that are released, because for 4 mana you get 6 mana worth of stuff.
6 mana worth of value.
This is good value.
For 4 mana, and that's ridiculous.
But if you now can already think about it, you can make your deck around it and play just really good stat 2-drops.
But you have the downside of potentially not having enough 2-drops. 2-drops are pretty bad right now.
So when you look at the power level of 2-drops, you can get some really absurd things.
You play only 2-drops and you play like 2-drops with Death Rattle.
Mage Talnos for 1-drops, Mistress of Mixtures.
And getting Righteous Protector is also really good. 1/1 Divine Shield Taunt is strong.
You can fetch something like a Wild Pyromancer.
You play 2-drops with high stats like Dirty Rat.
So you can fetch Doomsayers.
If there's enough decent 2-drops, you could make some weird tempo-y aggro Paladin.
The cool thing is that you can technically play this in a Keleseth deck, but instead of running 2-drops, you just summon 1-drops.
It has just a lot of different ways you can use it.
Maybe this is the card, guys, that Millhouse needed.
Millhouse?
I don't think you would want to play Millhouse Manastorm still.
I mean, you won't start playing Millhouse Manastorm, I don't think.
Sometimes can also draw your 2-drops, and if you draw like a Millhouse, it's actually really bad, so I don't know if it's gonna really work out.
Very interesting and powerful synergy in slower Paladins. So mostly taking this rating for a control deck.
If you play this in a control Paladin and you just play double Dirty Rat,
the synergy with Call to Arms with Dirty Rat is insane.
So the high roll potential are of course Dirty Rats.
But you can play Dirty Rat, and that's really good.
There's lots of people playing the new sort of Exodia style mage deck. Playing Dirty Rat in your deck is just generally a good thing to be doing.
Dirty Rats is a hard counter to things like Quest Mage.
Firebat and Zalay brought up the possibility of using this in control deck to get, like, you know, a Dirty Rat and a Doomsayer to protect your Dirty Rat.
Ooh, maybe some other 2-drops.
You know, pulling 2 Dirty Rats and another minion, it's like, you can potentially get something like 20 stats worth of minions.
Blood Mage Talnos, double Loot Hoarder.
You can run, let's see, Call to Arms. Some examples I have is if you run 2 Dirty Rats, 2 Pyromancers, maybe some amount of Loot Hoarders or Galaka Crawlers.
You can get, you know, Dirty Rat, Millhouse.
Turn 4, you just summon 2 Dirty Rats and a Millhouse Manastorm.
Millhouse Manastorm.
Can I put in Dirty Rat? Can I put in Millhouse Manastorm? That was my first thought, but after thinking about it some more, I realized you just put this into Murloc Paladin.
And I don't know that Murloc Paladin will be running this as a 2-of necessarily.
More aggressive Paladin deck that just plays a lot of 2-drops and just play 2 Call to Arms.
Sure, sometimes you're summoning just 1/2s or 1/3s, but they're Murlocs. And also, when you summon those Tide Callers, they don't have to be 1/2s, they can be buffed.
But I think it's actually a very good reason to just play this in every single deck.
But when it comes to Constructed, it's a little bit more, I'm a little bit more ambivalent.
I still don't see it as an auto-include for Constructed, so I'm gonna have to say this has potential and needs support.
I think this card is really powerful. If it will see play, it's a little bit like, can it fit into the right Paladin decks?
But it's like, it would be a good card if that archetype has enough support.
You have to run a pretty specific deck for this to consistently work.
I'm not impressed. I think it's unlikely.
Call to Arms is nice, but you have to have a very specific set of minions.
So, Call to Arms, I think, really insane and a great card in Murloc Paladin could push that deck into tier 1 status.
I feel like the power level of the card is extremely high.
I think this one is really promising. I think it's a good card. I think it's a good card.
Draws you 3 cheap cards and plays it right away. That can't be bad.
As well. So, yeah.
I think this is a very, very, very strong card.
I'm gonna give this 5 stars. I think this is a really, really strong card.
Is the first card I'm rating 5 out of 5.
Now this is the exciting card for Paladin I see, and that's a 5-star card right there.
And I'm sure we're going to see a lot of it in the metagame for the new expansion.
Thank you so much for your support. And to all my subscribers with closed accounts, I don't know your nicknames, but thanks. Perhaps you will find something interesting here.
Here are some suggestions.
Job's done.